Society has long placed men in a box defined by rigid expectations, where masculinity is often equated with silence, stoicism, and the ability to endure hardships without showing emotion. From a young age, boys are taught to man up, to suppress their feelings, and to face challenges without seeking help. This mindset creates an image of strength that relies on isolation rather than connection, leaving men to shoulder the weight of their struggles alone. While this traditional notion of masculinity has been celebrated for its resilience, it comes at a significant cost to the emotional well-being of men and the relationships they form with others. When a man dares to share his problems, he is doing something extraordinary in the face of these societal norms. He is stepping outside the boundaries of traditional masculinity and embracing vulnerability, a quality often misunderstood or undervalued in men. Vulnerability is not a sign of weakness. It is a mark of courage. It takes immense strength to confront one's own emotions, let alone articulate them to others. For a man, expressing feelings or discussing personal struggles often means challenging the deeply ingrained belief that doing so diminishes his strength or makes him less of a man. This act of breaking stereotypes requires an environment where vulnerability is welcomed, not judged. It starts with those around him, family, friends, and society at large, acknowledging that men, like everyone else, are emotional beings who need support and understanding. When a man opens up about his problems, he is signaling a need for connection, a desire to be understood, and an effort to bridge the gap between his inner world and the external reality he navigates daily. This act disrupts the traditional narrative of masculinity by proving that strength lies not in isolation, but in the willingness to be authentic. Unfortunately, the stigma surrounding men's emotional expression often prevents them from seeking help or sharing their struggles. Studies show that men are less likely to seek therapy or confide in loved ones compared to women, largely due to the fear of being perceived as weak or incapable. This silence can lead to a buildup of stress, anxiety, and other mental health challenges, which, when left unaddressed, can have devastating consequences. Breaking these stereotypes is not just about encouraging men to share their feelings. It is about creating a cultural shift that normalizes emotional openness as a fundamental part of the human experience. When a man feels safe to share his problems, it can transform his relationships and his own self-perception. It allows him to step into a space where he is not defined by societal expectations, but by his own authenticity. It also empowers those around him to see him not as a one-dimensional figure of strength, but as a complex individual with emotions, fears, and aspirations. This process humanizes men and helps to dismantle the harmful notion that their worth is tied to their ability to remain stoic in the face of adversity. And as a society, we have a role to play in this transformation. We must actively challenge the language and behaviors that reinforce harmful stereotypes. Simple acts such as encouraging open conversations, listening without judgment, and offering support without questioning a man's strength can make a world of difference. When men feel that they are valued for who they are, rather than how well they conform to outdated norms, they can begin to embrace a healthier, more balanced form of masculinity. Breaking stereotypes of masculinity is not about diminishing traditional strengths, but about expanding the definition of what it means to be strong. True strength is found in vulnerability, connection, and the courage to be genuine. When a man tells you about his problem, it is an opportunity to celebrate this strength, foster deeper understanding, and contribute to a world where men are free to be their authentic selves. When a man chooses to share his problems, it is a profound moment of trust and vulnerability. Society often conditions men to suppress their emotions, believing that strength lies in stoicism and silence. This conditioning creates a world where vulnerability is seen as weakness, and many men grow up internalizing the idea that seeking help or opening up is a sign of failure. However, when a man takes the courageous step to share his thoughts, struggles, or pain, it's an act that defies these deeply ingrained norms. It's an act that reveals not weakness, but incredible strength. Trust is the cornerstone of any meaningful relationship, whether it's with friends, family, or a partner. When a man shares his problems, it signifies that he feels safe enough to let his guard down. This safety doesn't come easily. It often takes time, understanding, and consistent effort to create an environment where he feels that his words will not be met with judgment or dismissal. The moment he opens up is an indication that he trusts the person enough to share the parts of himself that he might otherwise keep hidden. It's a silent acknowledgement that the bond between them is strong enough to bear the weight of his struggles. This trust is not just about sharing problems, it's about sharing a piece of himself. When a man opens up, he reveals his fears, insecurities, and uncertainties, things he might not even fully understand himself. To be vulnerable is to risk being misunderstood or judged. It requires immense courage to expose the parts of oneself that are not polished or perfect. In doing so, he demonstrates his belief in the other person's ability to provide support and understanding. The people that we associate with dictate our life story, but there's no will otherwise. It requires this act of vulnerability strengthens the bond, as it fosters a deeper sense of connection and mutual respect. However, trust and vulnerability are fragile. They require careful handling and genuine care. If a man's vulnerability is met with dismissal or ridicule, it can reinforce the idea that opening up is dangerous or futile. He may retreat further into himself, building walls that become increasingly difficult to penetrate. On the other hand, when his vulnerability is met with empathy, compassion, and understanding, it creates a positive feedback loop. He learns that it is okay to share and that doing so can lead to meaningful support and connection. This trust also challenges traditional gender norms. Men are often raised to believe they must be the strong, unshakable pillars for others. Admitting they need help or that they are struggling can feel like a betrayal of this societal expectation. When a man overcomes this internalized pressure and chooses to be vulnerable, he is not only trusting the person he confides in, but also challenging the cultural norms that tell him he shouldn't need to. His vulnerability becomes an act of rebellion against harmful stereotypes, paving the way for healthier emotional expression. And so there's this tension between this inner feeling and this external outer persona. And so he lies. For those on the receiving end of this trust, there is a responsibility to honor it, providing a listening ear, offering reassurance, and creating a space free of judgment are all ways to show that his vulnerability is valued and respected. It's important to remember that the goal is not always to solve his problem, but to be present and supportive as he navigates it. This response not only strengthens the bond, but also encourages further openness and honesty. Ultimately, when a man trusts someone enough to be vulnerable, it's an opportunity for growth, not just for him, but for the relationship. It allows for deeper understanding, fosters empathy, and creates a space where both individuals can be their authentic selves. Trust and vulnerability are acts of bravery, and when they are nurtured and respected, they can transform relationships and challenge the very stereotypes that seek to suppress them. Listening is one of the most fundamental aspects of human interaction, yet it is often underestimated in its significance. When a man shares his problem, the act of listening becomes far more than a passive activity. It transforms into an active and compassionate engagement that can profoundly impact his emotional well-being and the bond shared between individuals. Listening is not merely hearing words. It is about understanding, empathizing, and creating a space where the person feels valued and respected. When someone takes the time to listen to a man expressing his struggles, it conveys a powerful message: you matter and your feelings are valid. This assurance is crucial, particularly in a society that often discourages men from voicing their emotions. Many men are conditioned to bottle up their feelings, fearing judgment or appearing weak. When someone listens without interrupting, judging, or dismissing, it challenges this stigma, providing a rare opportunity for the man to feel seen and understood. True listening requires a level of presence that goes beyond simply hearing the words being spoken. It involves paying attention not only to what is being said, but also to how it is being said. Tone of voice, Body language and even pauses between words can reveal emotions and struggles that might not be explicitly stated. Active listening means tuning into these subtleties, acknowledging them, and responding in ways that show genuine interest and care. A simple nod, maintaining eye contact, or offering a thoughtful response can make the speaker feel that their emotions are being taken seriously, which motivates them to respond to what we have to say. Another crucial element of listening is resisting the urge to immediately offer solutions. Many people, in their desire to help, may feel compelled to fix the problem being shared. However, this can sometimes come across as dismissive or overly simplistic, especially if the person sharing simply wants to be heard. Instead of jumping to conclusions or offering advice, it's often more effective to ask thoughtful questions or reflect back what you've heard to ensure understanding. Statements like, "That sounds really difficult," or "I can see how that would be frustrating," can validate the speaker's feelings and encourage them to open up further. Listening also creates a safe space where vulnerability can thrive. When a man feels that someone is truly listening to him, he is more likely to lower his emotional defenses and share openly. This openness fosters trust, which is the foundation of any meaningful relationship. It allows both parties to connect on a deeper level, strengthening the bond and creating a mutual sense of respect and understanding. The act of being heard can be incredibly healing, as it helps the speaker process their emotions and feel less isolated in their struggles. The impact of listening goes beyond the immediate conversation. For the man sharing his problem, being listened to can boost his confidence in expressing himself in the future. It can challenge the internalized belief that his emotions are a burden or that no one cares. For the listener, the experience can deepen empathy and strengthen their ability to connect with others. It becomes a mutually beneficial interaction that fosters emotional growth on both sides. However, listening effectively requires effort and practice. It involves setting aside distractions, being patient, and resisting the urge to judge or compare. It means creating an environment where the speaker feels comfortable and respected, even if their thoughts or feelings differ from your own. It is about prioritizing the speaker's need to express themselves over your own desire to respond or react. Ultimately, listening is an act of love, respect, and compassion. It tells the speaker that their voice matters and that they do not have to face their struggles alone. For men who may rarely experience this kind of attentive understanding, the importance of listening cannot be overstated. It is a simple yet profound way to validate their humanity, challenge societal expectations, and build stronger, more authentic relationships. Acknowledging emotions is a powerful and transformative act, especially in a world that often encourages people to suppress or overlook their feelings. When a man shares his struggles, recognizing and validating his emotions becomes essential, as it communicates acceptance, understanding, and care. This acknowledgement is not just about hearing what he says, but truly seeing and honoring the feelings behind his words. For men who are frequently conditioned to hide vulnerability, having their emotions acknowledged can be deeply impactful and healing. When a man expresses his emotions, he is stepping outside societal norms that often equate masculinity with stoicism. Many men grow up being told to man up, be strong, or don't cry, which can lead to internalized shame about their emotions. Acknowledging these emotions counters this harmful narrative. It sends a clear message. Feeling and expressing emotions is not a sign of weakness, but a natural and healthy part of being human. By validating his feelings, you help dismantle the stigma surrounding emotional expression and create a space where he feels safe to share openly. Acknowledging emotions starts with active listening. To truly understand what someone is feeling, it's important to listen attentively and without interruption. Pay attention to his words, tone, and body language. Sometimes emotions are not explicitly stated, but are revealed in subtle ways, like a hesitance in speech, a heavy sigh, or a forced smile. Recognizing these cues allows you to respond with empathy and care, showing that you are attuned to his inner world. A crucial part of acknowledging emotions is validation. This means letting the person know that their feelings are valid and understandable, even if you may not personally relate to their experience. For instance, if a man shares that he feels overwhelmed by work or personal challenges, avoid minimizing his emotions with statements like, "It's not that big of a deal," or "You'll get over it." Instead, affirm his feelings by saying something like, "That sounds really tough," or "I can see why you're feeling this way." Such responses validate his emotions, making him feel seen and understood. It's important to avoid offering premature solutions when acknowledging emotions. Often, people instinctively try to fix problems, thinking it will make the person feel better. While problem solving has its place, the first step should always be understanding and validating the emotions behind the issue. For example, if a man shares that he feels frustrated or defeated, rather than immediately suggesting ways to solve the problem, take a moment to empathize. You might say, "That must be really frustrating for you," or "It's okay to feel that way." Once he feels his emotions are acknowledged, he may be more open to discussing potential solutions. Acknowledging emotions also helps normalize them. Many men struggle with feelings of shame or inadequacy when experiencing emotions like sadness, fear, or anger. Believing these feelings make them less manly. By openly acknowledging and validating these emotions, you help to normalize them, showing that everyone experiences such feelings and that it's okay to express them. This can be incredibly liberating, encouraging emotional growth and self-acceptance. Creating a supportive environment for emotional expression requires patience and consistency. It's about building trust and showing that his feelings are not a burden. Simple acts like asking how he feels, checking in regularly, or giving him space to express himself without fear of judgment can go a long way. It's also important to respect his emotional process, even if it doesn't align with your expectations. Emotions are complex and deeply personal, and acknowledging them means honoring the individual's unique experience. Ultimately, acknowledging emotions strengthens relationships and fosters deeper connections. It demonstrates that you care not just about the person's external actions, but also about their internal well-being. For men who may rarely experience this kind of emotional support, the act of having their feelings acknowledged can be life-changing. It empowers them to embrace their emotions, challenge societal norms, and build more authentic and fulfilling relationships. In doing so, we not only support their personal growth, but also contribute to a world where emotional expression is celebrated as a vital part of being human. When a man shares his problems, it is natural to want to help. Many of us instinctively offer solutions, believing this is the best way to assist someone in distress. While problem solving has its place, often what is needed most is not a quick fix, but genuine emotional support. Offering support means being present, empathetic, and understanding, creating a space where the person feels valued and cared for. This approach acknowledges the complexity of emotions and focuses on the deeper need for connection and validation. Providing support begins with being present. Presence goes beyond physical proximity. It means giving your full attention to the person and their feelings. In our busy, fast-pacing lives, distractions are everywhere. But in moments of vulnerability, undivided attention communicates care and respect. Whether it's sitting down for a heartfelt conversation, putting away your phone during a talk, or simply maintaining eye contact, these small actions can make a man feel heard and appreciated. Empathy plays a central role in offering support. Empathy is the ability to understand and share someone else's feelings. It is not about pity, but about stepping into their shoes and seeing the world from their perspective. When a man shares his struggles, responding with empathetic statements like, "That must be really hard for you," or "I can imagine how frustrating that might feel," shows that you are attuned to his emotions. Empathy builds trust and helps him feel less alone in his experience. Listening without judgment is another cornerstone of supportive behavior. People often fear opening up because they worry about being judged or criticized. By listening with an open mind and withholding judgment, you create a safe space for the person to express themselves freely. Avoid interrupting or jumping to conclusions, as this can shut down the conversation and make the person feel misunderstood. Instead, focus on understanding their perspective and acknowledging their feelings. It's important to resist the urge to immediately provide solutions. While solutions can be helpful, diving into problem solving too soon can unintentionally dismiss the person's emotions. For example, if a man shares that he is feeling overwhelmed at work, saying, "Just organize your schedule better," might come across as dismissive, even if well-intentioned. Before offering advice, take time to validate his feelings. A simple statement like, "That sounds really overwhelming," can go a long way in showing that you understand and care about his emotional state. Once his feelings have been acknowledged, you can ask if he would like help brainstorming solutions, ensuring that any advice you provide is welcome. Sometimes the best support is simply being there. In moments of difficulty, knowing that someone is by your side can be incredibly comforting. Support can take many forms: a kind word, a hug, a shared activity, or even sitting together in silence. These gestures show that you care and are willing to stand by the person no matter what they are going through. Actions often speak louder than words, and your presence alone can be a source of strength. Offering support also means respecting the person's process and pace. Everyone deals with challenges differently, and what works for one person may not work for another. Some people need time to process their emotions, while others may want to talk things through immediately. Being supportive means being patient and understanding, allowing the person to navigate their emotions in their own way. It also means avoiding pressure to move on or get over it quickly, as healing and problem solving often take time. Ultimately, offering support rather than just solutions strengthens relationships and fosters trust. It shows the person that their emotions matter and that they are not alone in their struggles. For men who are often discouraged from seeking help or expressing vulnerability, this kind of support can be especially meaningful. It encourages emotional expression, challenges societal norms, and builds a foundation of mutual respect and understanding. By prioritizing support over solutions, we create deeper connections and contribute to a more compassionate and empathetic world. Strength in connection is one of the most transformative aspects of human relationships. It reflects the profound power of building bonds that allow people to feel seen, heard, and supported. For men, who often face societal pressures to appear self-reliant and emotionally invulnerable, the strength found in connection becomes particularly significant. It is through meaningful relationships that men can defy these expectations, find solace, and experience personal growth. True connection is not just about being physically present. It is about emotional intimacy, trust, and mutual respect that foster a sense of belonging and understanding. So if you're trying to create trust, if you're trying to create a sense of belonging and understanding, in a world where men are often expected to man up and shoulder burdens alone, connection provides a vital counterbalance. It offers a space where they can safely express their thoughts and feelings without fear of judgment or ridicule. This kind of openness is not a weakness, it is an act of bravery. To share one's struggles, insecurities, and fears requires immense courage, especially in a society that equates vulnerability with fragility. The strength of connection lies in its ability to turn vulnerability into a shared experience, one that strengthens bonds and reduces the emotional weight carried by one individual. The power of connection also lies in its capacity to provide support during challenging times. Life is full of uncertainties, and everyone, regardless of gender, encounters moments of doubt, loss, or fear. When a man is able to rely on trusted connections, he is reminded that he is not alone in facing these challenges. A strong support system, whether it's friends, family, or a partner, acts as a safety net, offering encouragement, guidance, or simply a listening ear. This shared strength not only helps individuals cope with difficulties, but also fosters resilience, teaching them that hardships are more manageable when faced together. Connection also has a remarkable ability to validate emotions and experiences. For many men, the societal expectation to suppress feelings can lead to a sense of isolation, as though their emotions are unacceptable or unwarranted. Genuine connections challenge this narrative by creating an environment where feelings are acknowledged and respected. When someone listens without judgment or responds with empathy, it communicates that those emotions are not only valid, but worth expressing. This validation is profoundly empowering, helping men feel more confident in their emotional expression and more secure in their relationships. Additionally, connection fosters personal growth and self-awareness. Engaging in meaningful relationships encourages individuals to reflect on their thoughts, behaviors, and values. Conversations with trusted individuals often provide new perspectives or insights that might not have been considered alone. For men who might feel the pressure to navigate life's complexities independently, these interactions can serve as a reminder that seeking input or advice is not a sign of incompetence, but a step toward growth. It is through connection that people challenge one another, inspire one another, and ultimately become better versions of themselves. Moreover, connection provides a foundation for trust and collaboration. In relationships where men feel understood and supported, there is often a greater willingness to share responsibilities and seek solutions together. This sense of partnership reduces the burden of facing challenges alone and promotes a feeling of unity. Whether it's in a friendship, a family dynamic, or a romantic partnership, collaboration born from connection strengthens the bond and fosters a sense of mutual respect. The strength of connection also lies in its ability to challenge stereotypes and redefine norms. When men are part of relationships that value emotional openness and authenticity, they become role models for others. They help dismantle the harmful stereotypes that suggest men should always be stoic or emotionally distant. By embracing vulnerability and fostering meaningful connections, they create a ripple effect, encouraging others to do the same and contributing to a cultural shift toward emotional acceptance. Ultimately, the strength in connection is transformative, both for individuals and for society. It provides men with the support, validation, and understanding needed to navigate life's challenges while also fostering deeper relationships and emotional well-being. In a world that often emphasizes independence, connection reminds us of the profound power of togetherness and the undeniable strength found in sharing life's journey with others.